critical is the key element there. Critical means it can't go down, cannot fail, cannot go offline. And for MSOs in particular, that's their network, that's the moneymaker. So you have got to keep those facilities running 24/7, 365. Otherwise, customers are very, very unhappy. They can't watch their favorite show or whatever it is they need to get access to. So that's what makes them critical. Yeah, airflow is important because it relates to the second highest cost of operating those facilities from an electricity standpoint. So if you look at the pie chart of electricity consumption, the network equipment takes up the biggest piece. Right behind that is cooling, air conditioning. And that is very much related to airflow. And you can take a facility that is not very well designed for airflow, not optimized for airflow, and just move things around and get 20% or more reduction in the amount of electricity it takes to cool that facility during the course of the year. And that can be a significant amount of money depending on the size of the facility. So it's very important. And it also can keep you from buying extra equipment that you don't need, extra air conditioners. If you're optimized on the equipment you do have, then you don't have to buy a lot of extra, and that stuff can also be very expensive. Yeah, what they need to understand is cooling is a big operating expense, as I mentioned previously, and laying out a facility, even a small one, and the way you lay it out is pretty important. If you can get to the optimum, which would be cold aisle, hot aisle discipline, then you're headed in the right direction, where all the racks are blowing in one side, out the other, and not at each other. So you literally have hot aisle, cold aisle, hot aisle, cold aisle. It's the best thing you can do. The most important thing for them to know about the hub edge facility is within MSOs, if you've ever seen the pyramid, it's close to 80% of the entire utility bill for an MSO. Even though there's a lot of them and they tend to be smaller sites as opposed to the larger data center operations, 70 to 80% of an MSO's total utility budget is in those edge and hub sites. So very important to pay attention to things like air conditioning and airflow, because those are absolutely critical to minimize operating costs and keep the carbon footprint as low as possible. Yeah, that's evolved over a long period of time. It used to be 50% plus or minus, mostly because we didn't know any better, but also because the equipment in those days was not very good. So the bottom end relates to static electricity. In other words, 0% humidity is not good because it's more productive towards static. There's nothing to dissipate that energy. However, Telcordia and other companies have done studies, less than 10% humidity and you're still okay. You're still fine. There's no significant risk as long as you do the other things, have a dissipative floor and have other ESD disciplines in place. On the high side, that is very much an older reference. You should be able to go up 80% or even higher at these facilities today. It's about the equipment that's in the space, and the equipment in the space has become hardier and hardier. Telecommunications equipment has become much more robust and can handle much higher humidity levels. Not an issue. Most of it is taken from human comfort standards, which we could feel and understand, but electronic equipment doesn't really care whether it's high humidity or low humidity. ESD is a factor that's absolutely a risk, but good disciplines in place, you can get 10% relative humidity in a site and still be fine with equipment reliability.